Greetings, my name is Ian and welcome back to my YouTube channel. So today I saw that there's been an announcement from Gentle Giant and the Madfish record label, and that is that we've finally gotten a release date for the upcoming Gentle Giant remix. And that is, of course, their fifth record, In a Glass House, a very interesting record in their history and chronology. This, of course, being the first record that the Shulman brothers made without their oldest brother, Phil. But first, let's take a look at this press release so I can tell you all you need to know. So this will be available on July 31st and is now available for pre-order. I pre-ordered my copy through Laser CD in the United States. But presumably you will be able to get this through Amazon and some other reliable sources. But essentially what this says is that for the first time ever, In a Glass House has been newly mixed and made available in both 5.1 surround sound and Dolby Atmos, opening up the album's dense arrangements and intricate performances in an entirely new way. And there's a quote here from Derek Shulman. "We wanted to present In a Glass House the way we always hoped it could sound, clearer, more dynamic, and true to the original vision. The detail in the performances really comes through in this new mix." The release will be available in multiple formats, including a standard 180-gram vinyl LP, limited edition clear vinyl, CD, and a deluxe CD/Blu-ray edition, featuring new stereo, 5.1 surround sound, and Dolby Atmos mixes. What's not immediately clear is if the original mix will be included in the package, and I really hope it is, since the last time the original mix was available was in 2009, not counting the Gentle Giant box set, which came out a few years back, but was very expensive to get a hold of, so I don't have it. What Gentle Giant did do is they released a preview of a track from the album. They released Way of Life, so I did have a chance to listen to it a couple of times and compare it to the original mix. Now, before I get into that, let's talk a little bit about the technology involved. So this isn't Steven Wilson's work. If you read through some of Derek Shulman's book, Giant Steps, there are some notes in the back of this book which do shed some light on the new remixes and the technology involved, so we're going to talk a little bit about that. This time around, Derek Shulman enlisted the help of Grammy Award-winning producer Eber Pinheiro. What Pinheiro was able to do was take a original master mixdown of the album and feed it into an AI algorithm and pull out the stems. This is a technology that's been available for a few years, and it's actually quite accessible. For one, I use a program called RipXDaw, and I've used it on a couple of my projects over the years, usually to make very small changes, like say if a vocal track is buried or if you want to strengthen the drum track a little bit, you can put that stereo track into an algorithm and it spits out a series of individual stems where you more or less have control over the different sounds like you would in a multi-track mix. But it's unlike a multi-track mix in the fact that inevitably there tends to be some weird artifacting that comes about as a result of pulling apart the stereo mixdown that you obviously wouldn't get. And you obviously don't have as much control over the individual tracks. Like for instance, usually you just get drums on a stereo track, or you get all the vocals, including the background vocals, on a stereo track, or other weird things happen like the guitars and the keyboards will end up on the same track. So obviously the AI software that would be available to Pinheiro, or Pinheiro, however you pronounce it, would be more sophisticated, much more high-end than the consumer-grade equipment that I've used, the consumer-grade software that I've used. So I was eager to get a chance to listen to this because obviously we've had examples of upmixes being used as far back as like the early 2010s. I mean, Steven Wilson had to resort to up mixes for certain tracks from the Octopus album when he did a remix of that record. But it's been very rare for an entire album to be remixed this way. The only relevant example I can really think of is Stephen W. Taylor's mix of the Hawkwind record, Hall of the Mountain Grill, which I did review for the channel, and I thought that translated somewhat awkwardly, but it still ended up being the best that the record ever sounded. So back to my main point. I did have a listen to the stereo mix of Way of Life, which is available on YouTube, as well as streaming services. I listened on Apple Music in headphones. And what I noticed right away is that the bass and drums have been greatly strengthened. And there is an air of artificiality, in my opinion, to the drums, especially the cymbals. And it feels like there's been some heavy processing put on the drums themselves, especially the toms. I hear a little bit on the snare, maybe. I also noticed that the keyboard tracks, especially like the pipe organ and some of the synthesizers, sound very thin on the new mixes. I also hear something a little bit spooky going on with the vocals, which I believe they tried to kind of mitigate by adding some reverb to the vocals. And for any of you who are familiar with the original sound of this album, it always had a very stark, cold, bright, and indeed thin sound to it. So I appreciate the fact that Derek Shulman is trying to bring some warmth to the mix. I think that it helps it a lot. But some of these other issues, what I've always noticed about when I've done AI stem separation projects is that you make improvements to one part or another, but inevitably it always causes issues down the road. And I think that overall they've done a pretty decent job here making some improvements, but it's not perfect to my ears. It's not nearly as good as what a mix from the multitracks would be. Now, obviously, when you take this from stereo to Dolby Atmos, more issues could come about. So I'd be interested to hear the entire thing. I have placed a pre-order through Laser CD, so I'm gonna be checking this out in the coming months, and for sure I do intend to review it. So if you would like to hear my review, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Also, feel free to leave me a comment below. Have you had a chance to listen to Way of Life? What do you think? Especially if you're one of those folks who is very familiar with this album and if you're a huge fan of it. Let me know if you think it's an improvement, or if, like me, you can hear aspects that are improved, but also you can kind of hear some issues developing, some artificiality as a result of the technology at play here. I would be interested to get a dialogue started. I'm interested in hearing your opinions. And the best way to express those would be in my comments below. So I look forward to reading those. But until then, I'm going to get back to work. I'm mixing today, and I have an exciting mastering project also to look after. So it's been real fun talking with you, and you'll hear from me real soon. Alrighty, take care. Bye-bye.